Okay, so good morning, everyone. I'd like to call the JPS meeting of July 6th to order. It looks like we do have a physical quorum present, and I will entertain a motion to permit members to participate by video or teleconference. And so I need a motion. Second, thank you. And then we'll do a roll call vote of those in person only.
Member Pachalski? Aye. Member Schwarzy? Aye. Member Zay? Aye. Chair Renahan?
Aye.
Member Chaplin? Aye. Member Eckhoff? Member Garcia?
Aye.
Member Kajewski?
It's just a roll call. Yes. Here. Well, I hear a lot of ayes. I'm not what we voting on. I am paying attention. I'm hearing ayes for a roll call. That's why I want to skip with a roll call or for voting. I'm here for the roll call.
That's complete. All right, so it will not be necessary to have roll call votes on each item, but now we will do a normal roll call, please.
Chair Renahan?
Here.
Member Chaplin? Here. Member Covert?
Here.
Member Desart?
Here.
Member Eckhoff? Member Garcia?
Here.
Member Krajewski?
Here.
Member Ozog?
Here.
Member Pachalski?
Here.
Member Schwarzy?
Here.
Member Selman?
Here.
Member Zay?
All right, thank you. And a warm welcome back to Member Salman. Nice to see you. Do we have any public comment?
No public comment.
All right, moving on to chairman's remarks, just a couple things. As we know, we had a major natural disaster affecting DuPage, Naperville, Woodridge, Burridge, and Darien on Father's Day. So I'd like to congratulate and give kudos to our emergency management team, Murray Snow, John Neville, and everyone there for coordination with state municipal partners, our county departments, our emergency services like Red Cross, Team Rubicon, all of our county departments. I just think we're very fortunate to have that kind of a team going on and to have that kind of impact so immediately in times like this. Member Desart and I were out in Woodridge the weekend before last to meet with residents and tour the MARC facility. They helped over 1,000 people. There were 39 groups there. And I got to tell you, it was really something. I mean, people showed up. They had shopping carts with shovels and pails and bins, and there were food and tree services. And it was just amazing how much work get done in such a short amount of time with people working together. So thank you for that. I'd also like to mention I met with the sheriff. I had a good meeting with also Member Desart came along, and our Just of DuPage chair, Mike Berry. I'm told that contact visits will once again happen in the jail once vaccination rates reach about 60%, which is so important for families to have that kind of contact, especially with children. The sheriff is going to, kind of along that line, sheriff is going to invite members at large for a tour, but again, COVID is still a concern. So watching out for that. And with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
All right, thank you. Any additions, corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Those are approved. Moving on to our business at hand, I'll take a motion to approve budget transfer 2021-596, a transfer from account number 533370 to 54110 for purchase of a full spectrum imaging system for the crime lab, $45,101.
Second.
All right, questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. That's approved. I'll take a motion on FIR 33021, additional appropriation for the coroner's certificate fee, $3,922.
Second.
Questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's approved. I'll take a motion FIR 33321, amending adult redeploy Illinois program grant PY 21, reduction of 36,796.
Second.
Questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that's approved. Take a motion on JPSP 6-21, contract to Dr. Elizabeth Donegan for comprehensive evaluation of offenders as referred by the court. This is for probation, not to exceed 50,000. Questions, comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? It's approved. Take a motion on JPS CO 49721, amendment to a resolution for telecommunication circuits for disaster recovery and cloud backup, October 1st, 2020 through September 2024, increasing by $54,690.72. I have a motion.
Second.
Puchalski, second by, questions, comments? Yes.
So is this a new, like, just a 4-year extension of the contract and they raised the price 25%, or is it just 25% of the original contract?
You have the clerk of the circuit court on the line.
Good morning, everyone. It's part of the original contract. This is for the surcharges related to telecommunications. That's to be divided over the next 4 years.
So is it 25%, a 25% increase in the next 4 years, or it's 25% just of the original contract?
To the original contract.
Okay, thank you.
Does that satisfy your question? Any other questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Right, that is approved. I'll take a motion on JPS CO 49621, also an amendment with Selco Partnership DBA Verizon to provide cell phone for the Circuit Court Clerk and Chief Judge's Office, increasing by $4,000.
Second.
Questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Right, that's approved. Take a motion on JPS R 332-21 and IGA with Illinois Law Enforcement Alarm System with Homeland Security and Emergency Management with regards to the Illinois Transportation Emergency Communication System.
Second.
Questions or comments? Can I have somebody from OEM just come up for just a second and tell us what a special project this is? Thank you.
There you go.
There we go. All right, not used to this. All right, good morning. Thank you for giving us a couple minutes to discuss this. The ITEX unit, the Illinois Transportable Emergency Communications Unit, is the premier communications vehicle in Illinois, without a doubt. Back in 2006, when the first ITEX units were rolled out, it was our communications unit, our department, that built the entire fleet. Now, 15 years later, with the second generation ITEX vehicle, instead of a truck and a trailer, this is one vehicle that is smaller, more powerful, and has even more equipment in it. So there were several counties and communications units that vied for this contract. We were awarded this. We're very proud of it. And I've asked John Neville, my communications team lead, to come up and just give you 1 or 2 minutes on the capabilities of what this vehicle can do.
Thank you, Director. Good morning. So the ITEX fleet was built in 2006 with ITTF funding, and the idea is to either bring in communications where none exists or do supplement communications with a large situation. ITEX can provide satellite service, telephone service, Wi-Fi service, multiple radio repeaters, cross-banding or interoperability patching. The current fleet has a tow truck and a trailer. The trailer is 25 feet long, 50-foot tower on it. Great platform, very robust, but it also is a little bit difficult to utilize in that it takes 3 to 4 people to operate it. It takes about an hour to set it up. As the director said, the state is looking at taking it to the next level. A rapid response vehicle, single unit, operated by 1 or 2 people, rapidly deployed. It's going to have all of the same technology as the original units, but actually kind of upgraded. We can not only provide telephone service or radio service, but we can actually set up dispatch service. So we can run radios into a building, and dispatchers from out of a building or a command post can control radios inside the vehicle. So we're honored to have the opportunity to build this out. The state has asked us to finish the design on it. They've purchased everything. We just have to figure out the design, the installation, build it out, and then do the testing and evaluation. If all goes well, they want to build a fleet for the entire state. Thank you.
Great. Congratulations. So great to see DuPage leading, and what an accomplishment. Thanks. Do we have any questions, comments on this item?
There we go. Sorry about that. We should pick it up with them at the next month, once the county board approves it next week and it's signed by the chairman. Final arrangements will be done to pick it up. We're hoping to do about a 6-month build on it, operational by next spring. Probably the hardest part is the final design of it, figuring out where everything's going to go. There's going to be a 30-foot pneumatic mast. We have to put electrical systems into it. So it's doable. We're hoping for about 6 months and have it up and running. And they're hoping that we will run it as much as we can locally in the county as well as in the region for exercises and actual events or incidents, again, to put it through its paces. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Any other questions, comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that is approved. Take a motion on JPSR 33121 Preferred Health System, DuPage County and Northwestern Memorial Healthcare, August 1st, 2021 through July 31st, 2024 with the Sheriff's Office.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Questions or comments? Member Ozak.
Thank you, Chairman Renahan. I'm just curious about, is there any kind of financial, any numbers attached to this, or is it completely on an as-needed basis at current billable rates? Is that how this one works?
Okay, my understanding is that finance negotiated this agreement. Do we have Eddie Moore on the line? Oh, even better in person. Come on down.
Okay, thank you. I'd just like some clarification about what exactly we do with Northwestern Medical with the inmate medical services.
You are correct. It's on an as-needed basis. If an inmate is sick or something like that, or we need to bring somebody to the hospital from intake, then we'll build accordingly.
Okay, so at prevailing rates, whatever those might be.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional comment, questions, discussion? Members A?
Under Sheriff Moore, don't we usually get Medicare rates on that? We get the lowest rate.
We get the lowest rate, correct.
Okay, thank you.
Questions, comments? All right, thank you, Under Sheriff Moore. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that's approved. Moving on to JPSR 30521, IGA with Wayne for police services.
Second.
Jim Zay.
All right. Let's see. Questions, comments? We did receive some additional information and there was negotiation between the Sheriff's Office and Wayne with discussions with myself as well. Consideration of a $50 per call for 1 year, basically to, as a discussion item and then kind of go from there. But someone would need to make that motion if interested in pursuing that path. Member to start.
Thank you, Chairman. I would like to make a motion to amend the contract that was in the packet to include a $50 per call addendum to the original contract that is before us.
Second.
All right, thank you, Member to start. Yes, Member Pachowski.
Is that reciprocal? So the $50 goes if the municipality in that village covers something that's in unincorporated area?
It's an overnight contract with the sheriff to help Wayne.
But I thought if they're not able to do it, that there would be, is that the only police agency that covers that then, not anybody else?
Do you have somebody from the sheriff's office, or I know we have the sheriff from Wayne here as well. Oh, all right, Chief Torp.
Morning. I know we don't have are you asking if they end up covering something in our area?
Yeah, I don't think they do, but if
They don't.
And again, I don't think we have many of these. This can be a couple $1,000 maybe.
This is unique in that we have always gone to wherever anybody asks for our assistance, but in this actual case, there's a contract tied to it. I spoke with Mr. Berlin yesterday extensively about this, and then with Sheriff Hendrick. It is unique in that we actually have a contract, but historically, we just respond to whoever needs help. As an example, last year when we had the unrest, we went to numerous departments and helped them with crowd control and all that that could be, and we didn't have any type of agreements with anybody.
Is this going to open a door to other areas? Because I'm concerned, I know Addison has a big unincorporated area. There's an incident, the Addison police are going to be there. Is this going to be something for them to negotiate in the future, that they're going to be back charging everybody, or is this just a one-time occurrence?
That is not our plan, and this wouldn't be, if there wasn't actually a contract being tied to this request, then this wouldn't even be a discussion as far as the sheriff's office is concerned.
I just see this being an issue in the future with other pieces that we do this. Thank you.
Member Krajewski.
Yeah, thank you, Chairwoman. I think you got two different issues here. I mean, police office departments do mutual aid back and forth. When there's a call or whoever's closer, the municipality is closer to an unincorporated area. This is a little unique because there is no police department. Wayne is not going to have anybody between the hours of X. So we become the primary. And therefore, I think that's why we're going to charge $50 a call. If we were just providing backup like everybody does, you know, whoever's closest gets there first, but you have regular people on duty. And it ties into my question I had asked 3 weeks ago on the indemnification is I'm understanding now we don't have an intergovernmental with the Forest Preserve, and we are the primary in the evenings. And so that's something I'm going to bring up that we need to look at also. But when we become primary for somebody, they eliminate their police department and we take over, of course they should be paying for it. But, you know, we're always going to have, you know, mutual responses back and forth. In this case, Wayne does not, or is not going to have anybody in the evening, and we're going to take it over. Therefore, compensation should be paid.
Yeah, I think that is the distinction here. We become the primary. And if I could I call on the chief from Wayne, because this was actually requested from Wayne of us. Morning.
Good morning. Yes, this is something that we talked about would be for a 1 year period of time to evaluate it. We're not doing this to save money. We're doing it because we have a crisis hiring officers, qualified officers that I would hire. And up until that gets better, I'm not going to have that shift covered. So it's strictly for that. And the $50 a call, I think, is more than acceptable. When it comes to mutual aid, I mean, we've been doing that for years anyway. If there's a call on the outbound of Wayne and it's the sheriff's department and it's really an emergency, we'll take it, you know, until they get there. So we've always done that for years with every town. And there's never been a reciprocal, but I understand about the $50 because I think it's good to make a point on how much we're using the sheriff's department, and it'll be that way you guys could evaluate that, you know, based on the check every month, or I don't know how.
Yeah, and I know you've said that from our first discussion, that kind of helps our metrics and it helps you, and it's kind of a win-win from your perspective as well.
Yes.
All right, Member Schwarzer.
Hi, Chief, and I know we spoke on the
Yes.
phone last month. I think you average somewhere between 30 and 40 calls after hours for the entire year. So this is.
Yeah, we did a monthly average about 2.5. And most of those are non-essential calls or burglar alarms, residential alarms, could be a stranded car, things like that.
Thank you.
You know, like everyone, we can't control what happens in our town overnight. You know, there is the occasional more serious crime. Fortunately for us, that happens very so.
Thank you.
On Member Zay and then Member Desart.
Yes, thank you. Well, I know Wayne from being in my district. I know it is the hotbed of crime there, you know, with 35 to 40. So I know the county is really hard up for this maximum, probably $2,000 that we'll be charging. But again, we appreciate it. And it's not because we're trying to save money or anything you brought up. You're having problems getting police officers. So I'm glad the sheriff's office can help. And I hope, you know, the $50 is enough here for the board, because, you know, it's, again, you know, maximum of 40 calls in a year is, you know, a lot. I mean, I'm embarrassed to even ask you for it. I feel like paying it for myself.
We're more than happy. Yeah,
you know,
we're blessed
I can
because
prepay 6 months if you want.
So, and most of my department is retired people that come from other agencies, including myself, even though I'm full-time. I retired from another agency for 30 years. It's getting harder and harder to attract that type of candidate.
Thank you, Member Desart.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that Member Krajewski is exactly right. This isn't mutual aid. This is our sheriff's department is the primary during the overnight hours here. I would like to see moving forward that we also, when we make these intergovernmental agreements with our sheriff's office, that we also recover any court time our officers might have to go into court to testify. I don't know if that takes an hour, 2 hours, a half day of our deputies' time to go testify in court. But I'd like to see that worked into the compensation as well. Thank you.
Okay, are you officially making that motion to?
Not at this time, but moving forward as we work through these intergovernmental agreements.
Okay, and I appreciate that because I think, this is a 1-year agreement. We're just going to kind of see how this goes and, go from there in terms of cost. I think it's probably going to be very low cost. And this is just minimal compensation. Member Zay.
And as Member Krajewski said, and I had sent an email, when we become the primary, we should seek compensation. So again, I think we've had a handshake agreement with the Forest Preserve of DuPage County for at least the last 30 years, which is much bigger than the village of Wayne and covers the entire county. And I know because our district has 2/3 of the Forest Preserve in it. So I assume in the future, we're going to have discussions with the Forest Preserve to bring a IGA forward because we're the primary there from dusk to dawn at the Forest Preserve for calls there in the future. Same way we're doing with the village of Wayne. I think what makes sense, right? Because we are the primary there. They basically lock the gates and then any calls come to the sheriff's department, right?
I'm going to ask that we confine our discussion to the Wayne agreement. If you want to bring that up in old business, we can certainly have that discussion. I just don't want to confuse our issues here. Member Aka?
I just wanted to ask the chief, why is it harder now to recruit people than before?
No, I think for various reasons. I think we have these lulls that are up and down right now and just really unable to attract people once they retire to get back into this in a part-time capacity.
I mean, do you expect that to change? I mean, have you seen a ebb and flow of the numbers over the last 10 years, or is this going to be a permanent situation?
I hope not. I hope it's not permanent. I don't know. I don't have the crystal ball for that, but I don't know what's, but we constantly try. It isn't a lack of, I get applicants, it's the right applicant. And I refuse to lower our standards in any form to hire an officer. And I'm just having a difficult time right now attracting.
All right, thank you.
All right.
Any more discussion? I'm going to call on Member Krajewski. Did you want to make this amendment contingent on negotiating indemnification language as well?
Like what we had in the township, I wanted to make sure. I was just asking that all of them be consistent throughout the board. If we had indemnification language like we did for the township, this one has it in there. And I assume when we draft up and talk about an old business, Forest Preserve will have the same indemnification language.
Right, Mr. Bruckner?
With regards to the township agreements and this agreement essentially say that the sheriff and the county are responsible for any acts of their own personnel. This is not an indemnification where Wayne's paying everything. As far as if there's something that goes wrong with a call, Wayne is not defending and indemnifying the county.
But you're saying that our other IGAs with municipalities do include that language.
We don't have any other IGAs. The township ones are similar to this agreement.
This is the same one that the township has. Right?
That's what I meant, township, I'm sorry.
And then we have 0 with the Forest Preserve, which we're going to get to, but I just think they should be consistent through every one we're doing. We should have the same language.
So can we make the amendment then contingent on including indemnification languages as consistent with our township?
It's already in there, right? Yeah, it's I saw it, and it's the same as the township.
This is similar to the township, what's in there.
Right.
It is?
Yes.
Yeah, the language is, I just wanted it consistent through every agency we do. It's the same as the township one, which is what we said.
I know there was some discussion. Nick, did you have any comments to make on this? Bless you.
I mean, if we indemnify ourselves through that and want to change, then we need to go and do it to the township ones when they come up. I just think we need the same consistent language.
I think as I'm hearing both sides, I think that what our council is saying is it is consistent, but it's consistent that there is no indemnification. Is that correct? Because right now, if something happens in the agreements, there is no indemnification that would transfer those liabilities on another party. It would stay on us. I mean, and that's the decision of the board, which way you want to go. But it's my understanding that the other agreements don't have indemnification that would protect the county. And if we were to, I mean, whether we want to put that in this or not, that's up to the board.
It's a future discussion just have, but we should be consistent. We just don't put it in one and then like the townships have a different one. I mean,
Okay, I just want to make sure that your concern is being addressed. Yes?
yeah, consistency, but I want it.
All right, great. So on the floor, we currently have a motion to amend the IGA with the Village of Wayne to include a provision that states that Wayne will pay DuPage County $50 per call. That was made by Member Desart. Did we have a second on that? Member Chaplin? Any additional discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that is approved. Thank you. Moving on to procurement, I'll take a motion. Oh, I have to go back to the initial motion. Thank you. Now we vote on the main motion, which is IGA with the Village of Wayne as amended. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, hearing all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you very much. Now moving on to procurement, I'll take a motion on JPSP 30621, contract with Ray O'Haron Co. Inc. to provide
So
fire
moved.
ammunition not to exceed 150,000.
Second.
Sheriff. All right, we have a motion, we have a second. Any questions, comments? Oh, I'm sorry, who was the second? Krajewski. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that is approved. Moving on, JPSP 30921, agreement with the 18th Judicial Court with Penny Canova for Family Violence Coordination Council Coordinator, Administrative Assistance for Local Councils, July 19th, 2021 through June 30th, 2022, not to exceed $32,025.
So moved.
Take a motion. Second. Okay, so after the agenda was posted, there was one small change that needed to be made. Where it says Family Violence Coordination Council, it should say Family Violence Coordinating Council. And with that, I move to amend this item to say Family Violence Coordinating Council. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, that carries. And now is there any discussion on the main motion? All right. So we have a motion, we have a second on the main, yes? All right, questions, comments? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that carries. All, is that correct? All right, great. I'll take a motion to approve 2021-597 grant with DNA capacity enhancement for backlog reduction, $370,899 with the Sheriff's Office.
So moved.
So second.
Right, start, questions, comments? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, that is received. And with that, I will move to note old business. Okay, Members A.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, I'm just concerned. I heard a lot about, you know, when the sheriff's office becomes primary, which would be with the Forest Preserve, and we're being consistent and identification. I think we really need to pursue a contract with the Forest Preserve and IGA with them. I mean, we have it with our townships. Well, we have a sheriff's department that's in the Forest Preserves making calls. We don't have any contract whatsoever with. I mean, we're worried about the Village of Wayne. I mean, can you imagine how many calls we've done over the year that we're not indemnified? We don't even have a contract with them if something were to happen. So I think we talk about being consistent. I think that's something and move forward in the future to talk to them and talk to the sheriff's office and get some kind of agreement, not only for our protection, but again, if we're making a lot of calls, we have no idea how many calls we're making in the Forest Preserve. Again, it's been years from when they close the preserves until they open the preserves. Those calls come to the sheriff's office. So I think we need to be consistent and move forward with something with them, not only for the fiscal amount, but again, if something were to happen, we don't have any kind of agreement with them whatsoever.
All right. Thank you, Members A. Member Krajewski.
Yeah, you know, 3 weeks ago, I had asked about the Forest Preserve indemnification agreement, and I come to find out that it's a handshake deal. And I think on a bigger picture, I'd ask Nick, what other handshake deals do we have out there with all kinds of, governments and agencies that we don't know about? I mean, we should know about it. We should get these things in place. And talk to the elected officials. I know we have new elected officials at department heads, but ask people in their department. I mentioned it to Jason this morning. He said he thinks there may be a couple other ones out there, but I think that we need staff to find out what handshake deals we have out there with various places, and we should have something in place, an IGA, because they keep coming up. I mean, I find out we have a handshake deal from 30 years ago. Clearly, we should have something in place like the townships or like we just did for Wayne. So I think we should direct Nick and staff, talk to elected officials and find out what else is out there that are handshake deals that we're not really aware of, that somebody is shook a hand with somebody else and we're doing and providing without the appropriate documentation in place.
Thank you. I think your point is well taken. Member, I'm sorry, Vice Chair.
Thank you. I don't have, I just had a question, Paul. Is there been litigation in the past in an issue where the forest preserve property and it's a DuPage County Sheriff? Are we the primary defendant or would they both be?
I don't recall in my time having any litigation regarding that.
No kidding. I thought there'd be some type of.
I've been here 20 years and I don't recall any.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Yes, Member Garcia.
I totally agree that we should have everything in writing. There should be IGAs with everyone. I do believe that we do have to keep in mind that the forest preserve is a little different than the village of Wayne. We're talking about residences versus forest preserve. There are no people living in the forest preserves. So it's a little bit different. So I just think we need to take that into our discussions when we talk about IGAs with all of the things of how they're the same and how they're different, what their differences are. Thanks.
Thank you, Member Krajewski.
Well, I disagree with that. The forest preserve has their own police department, except they don't do it at night. We become the primary at night. They provide police services in all the forest preserves from the morning until dusk, and then we take over in the evenings. They have no officers that stay, whatever they have, 16 or however many they have. They don't have anybody that works the evenings. We are the primary in the evening. They could easily have their people work the evening like they do in the daytime. Whether it's forest preserve or residents, it doesn't matter. It's that they have a police department, and just like anybody else, we become primary in the evening like we are now for Wayne.
Yeah, I mean, I did speak with the president of the forest preserve recently in the past week due to Members Day's concerns, and it's not a normal police department in the evening. It's an on-call, just as the Wayne agreement is. It's not a patrolling within. It's more of a business alarm, that kind of thing. And I shouldn't say business, but building alarms. And I am told it's a handful of calls. That being said, what I think we should, take into consideration, we should make things consistent. And I think this Wayne agreement is going to be a great litmus test for us as a board. And I think, we can all appreciate kind of how we're moving in the same direction together. Any other discussion on this item? All right. Do we have any other further old business? All right. Do we have any new business now? All right, no new business. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, we are adjourned until August 3rd. Thank you very much.